I said, yeah, Patrick Joy is my name, and I'm the founder of SureTank Group, which was founded in Dundalk in 1995. But before I talk a little bit about the SureTank story, I'd like to tell you an anecdote. When I was 12 years of age, my dad dropped me off to Clongowes, complete with top box and all the stuff that I needed to bring me through to Christmas, football boots, jersey, the whole lot. And the first Wednesday of sports day, we went out to the side of the pitch, and I was assigned to the under-13s. And Father Houlihan, who was known as the Hooley, said, Patrick, what position have you played before? And I said, I never played rugby before, Father. And he said, well, what do you know about rugby? What position would you like to play? I said, I've never seen a rugby game before. I've never seen one. And he said, right, we'll make you a hooker. So I was a hooker for 4 years. It's the only position I ever held, and I ended up playing for the Nicotine 15. So anyway, but look, that's just a small anecdote. In coming to this talk today, I have to admit also I was away for 3 weeks. Ola asked me to do it, and I said delighted to do it. But when I got home from the States on Sunday night, I said, what's a TED Talk? And I actually had to go on the internet to find out. So I hope I get it right, lads. But basically, having spoken to Orla and Louise about what I should say today, they said try and share some of your, let's say, experiences or whatever in growing your business. And briefly, the business, we started in 1995 in Dundalk, manufacturing equipment for the oil field. At the end of year one, we had turned over €1 million. We had 14 employees. Last year was our best year ever. We turned over 83 million. We had 800 employees worldwide, and we were manufacturing from 7 different sites. So it's, which included the States, Brazil, Thailand, China, Poland, the UK, and Ireland. So the journey for me over this 20-year journey has actually been fantastic. And one of the cliches, it has passed absolutely in the blink of an eye. 2 years ago, this month, I sat in William Fry's old offices and managed to sell 2/3 of my business to a Norwegian private equity. I'm still a major shareholder, I'm still on the board of the company, but in 8 days' time I will give up my full-time job. I'm retiring. So, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I've cobbled together some of my thoughts. There's no videos and there's no pictures, okay? But the key ingredients, as I see it, for how my business has become successful is what I've tried to put down here for you and to share with you. And the most important for me always throughout my whole business career has been my customer. And as some people say, the 3 most important things in your business are your customer, and your customer. The customer is key, and that has always been the philosophy. And it's a philosophy that I learned at home working in my father's shop in Clonmel. When somebody came into that shop and we didn't have it behind the counter, as a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old, I was sent to the chemist down the road to get it, and we held on to the customer. And that was the whole philosophy that runs through my business, to the extent that we don't have a sales department, we have a customer care department, and we put our customer top of the list, and that has been the key to our success. The other things that I found really important is that you surround yourself with people who are engaged. And I don't mean engaged to be married. I mean just engaged, that they're active people and that they're awake. Because unfortunately, probably half the people that you meet are not engaged. They come to work to collect a check. And you've got to recognize who the engaged people are in your organization. Those are the ones you want to hold on to. It's the other ones you want to let go. You've got to build a team. I know we've spoken about that before, the other speakers have. But you've got to build a team, but not only a team, but a team that actually believes in what you're trying to do. And you also then have to explain your vision to them. So you've got to help them to grow, you've got to help them to buy into your vision and to understand that you're all on the same path. You've got to know when and how to change direction. And in 20 years of our business career, we've had ups and downs. Everybody has ups and downs in business. Right now, the business that I'm leaving to a new management team is going through a phenomenal change because the price of oil has more than halved. So they're looking at an order pipeline, a sales pipeline that's just disappearing every day. But I keep telling them, I've left them a bloody great business. And luckily I have. But knowing how and when to change direction is really important. So you have to be nimble, and you have to be ready to move quickly and to seize those opportunities, you know. Providing leadership. And that's something very hard to explain. So I do have I did another slide on leadership, on my view of leadership, because there was a slide earlier from another presentation where leadership was defined as being different types of leadership. And I never thought about it that way before, but I would like to tell you what my ideas on leadership are, just from a personal perspective. And I've never read a book on leadership, and I'm not going to at this stage either. You know? But providing leadership to your business and to your people is incredibly important as well, you know. And finally, you've got to be prepared to work hard. You've got to work your ass off. And that has probably been part of the most successful, the most enjoyable part of my business life, has been the enjoyment of actually working hard. I've really loved it. And that's probably why the 20 years has gone so quickly. So what leadership means to me, just in my own words, right, is getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it, not because you've told them to do it, but you've got to get them to come along with you. And if you do that, you're a leader. Becoming a person that others want to follow. And again, I think that's incredibly important, that good leaders, people want to follow good leaders. I don't believe in autocratic leadership of you do this, you do that, whatever. It's very much a matter of leading by example and being the front runner in your business. Having a vision, knowing where you want to go with your business, and being able to communicate that to the people around you, and having them also believe and buy into that. That's leadership. Then the actual doing of the vision, turning that into a reality, is again leadership. And being yourself, not anyone else. I think that's also very, very important. Don't try to be the other guy. Don't try to copy somebody else. You are who you are, and you've got to communicate that to your people. And making the tough decisions when you have to. And that's, I put that at the end here, and that's probably the toughest part of being a leader. And the tough decisions tend to be relating to people and people who are not performing. In different parts of the world. And that's probably, if people say to me, looking back over my 20 years in SureTank, you know, what do you remember as being difficult? What were the difficult times? And it's not the customer I lost and got back, or it's not the downturn of the price of oil. It's actually having to deal with problems, people problems within the business. That I have found personally, from my perspective, the most difficult part of my leadership role. My own personal motto is that I sort of try and preach to my people, to my kids, and I think about myself, you know. You have to lead by example from the front. You don't be a desk jockey. So I would have spent probably 40-50% of my time abroad, away from my business. The business hasn't suffered because of that. But it's really important that people see what you're doing and understand the effort that you're making and see the results coming through. You've got to be ambitious and passionate and strive to be the best. And don't take no for an answer. And I think all of you know all of this already, so this is just my own personal view on it as well. And be decisive. I think the worst decision is no decision. And I've made some bad decisions. I got involved in a business in Thailand in 2006, and 3 years down the line, it cost us $4 million. And it was created a serious problem for the business. But that business in Thailand is now one of our best businesses. So I made a bad decision, but I made a decision. And then we stuck with the decision, and we turned the thing around. And I think that's really key as well, that stick with it, and get through the pain barrier, and just keep fighting, and you will win at the end. Embrace change, look for constant improvement. We're metal bashers, my company. We make tanks and we make containers. But what we have to do is look for change. We have to look for added value. We've got to go to our customers and persuade them that we can give them more than just a steel box. And that's the way we sustain our business, because we couldn't sustain the business just doing the same thing all the time. So we're now making a whole suite of products for the same customers that we had in the mid-90s, now 20 years later. Think big. Don't be afraid to dream. We're a small company. We started with 14 people, a turnover of €1 million. And as I said, last year we were up to 83 million. That's 23% per annum compound growth over 20 years, with some ups and downs in between. We have 60% plus market share in the offshore tank business, and we have a 22% market share in the container side of our business. And that's coming out of Ireland, where there's no oil industry. And that's because we just think we can do it. And that's really, really important as well. The speed of the team is the speed of the leader. I don't know where I borrow that from, but I love it. And it really is good. And feel good about yourself, because people who feel good about themselves produce great results. So you have to, if you're positive about yourself, other people in your organization will be positive about themselves. So again, be positive, be happy, and enjoy what you're doing, and let that come through your organization. In terms of, my kids sometimes ask me too, the things that sort of drive me. And I think I was 2 or 3 years in business, and I was involved in Plato Group up in Dundalk, and we had a speaker along, and he spoke about, what you should look for in people and what you should look for in yourself. And I wrote those things down, and I've carried them with me for at least 15 years now. And basically what I look for in myself and those around me is ambition. This is my ABC. Business acumen. You've got to be smart. You have to have your antenna up there, be looking for those opportunities. You've got to be customer focused. You've got to have drive and energy. And that means that you've got to eat well, you've got to look after yourself, you've got to stay fit. I don't ever go to the gym, by the way, but I'm not overweight. I don't know what my BMI is, and I don't care. But you have to stay in reasonably good shape. You've got to be resilient, because you will come across problems, and you've got to be able to deal with those problems. You've got to have integrity. And I think integrity is extremely important as well, and your organization has to have integrity. And you've got to be able to say no when business practices that you don't like are put in front of you, and there will be, particularly when you're doing business in some of the countries that we do business in. Which would be countries that they explore for offshore oil. So we're talking about West Africa, parts of South America, and places like that. So we will be very strict on that. I think that's me finished, yeah. So that's throwing me now, because I thought there was another line. But anyway, basically, guys, those are what I look for in myself, what I say to my kids, what they should be thinking along the same lines, and what I say to my employees. As I said, I've had a fantastic journey in my business. I'm retiring in 8 days' time, but only from the day job. So I'm looking forward to doing lots of other things, staying on the board of my company. But thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope that something shared.